And okay, hello. We are back. The tech cut us off as Pastelle was talking about time traveling through dreams and portal jumping, and so it just means that we were onto something.
Yeah.
And I think to let's say organize the next 20 minutes of this live stream about dreams because we are in solstice season, right? And so the thing you were talking about, Pastel, about how we wouldn't necessarily know about time unless, we had the sun to let us know. And this is why I look at like like Kevin sent me a meme once that said, you you don't believe in astrology, but you believe it's 3 p.m. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, you believe in like the fact that we're saying it's like 11:30, whatever. That's just a construct.
That's
If you look at the sky and the stars and you say the moon is like close to full in the sign of this, like that's an observable point versus you saying like it's 3
yeah.
a.m. or whatever. That's arbitrary. You could like, where in the world are you? But you could, if you speak about the cosmos, it's a way of marking events, which is why in astrology they say that everything has an astrology. You can make a synastry between this is what I've been doing recently as well. You can take your birth chart Pastel and do like a synastry with like anything, like an event, with like a movie, with a release date of something, when something happened, because your own energies as it relates to that has its own story to it and like what it means to you personally. Like for example, I did Aaliyah, she's like the singer, her birth and her death chart, because I remember when she died, because her song that she did was like the first song I ever performed live, like with my friends, right? And so when she died, it was a big deal for me. And I had, like, when I went and got the Dragon Warriors book, there was a magazine I had of like a clip out of like when she passed, and I was like, oh my gosh, Aaliyah died 2 weeks before 9/11. And so you just kind of like think of what the world was like at that time, and what age you were, and like how that impacted you, and like what that meant for you and your storylines as you went forward. And it's just trippy.
Yeah.
Because I got a message to do her chart reading, Pastel, the day that she died. Like, I had a dream and I woke up and I told Kevin, I'm like, I gotta do this thing for Aaliyah. And I was like, oh my god, today's the day it happened, like her plane crash. So it was just stuff like that. You can't like, what does that mean in like logical sense? You could say, oh, it's coincidence, or
I mean, no, because you felt it.
yeah,
So
exactly, you feel it, and it's like,
yeah. It's like your body has a chemical reaction to something that happened very, very far from you. So it has to be more like more connection with a really with a spiritual relationship than
yes.
just a coincidence that can.
Yeah, I know. Like it's one of those things where like, even if you talk about like quantum physics and things like that, where like uh when you observe something, it reacts differently when it knows it's being watched,
Of course,
right? So, but like, how does it know that something's watching?
that's true though. I think it's a kind of the same thing then, like, sometimes when you do something and you be like, oh no, I won't do that. I'm not doing
It's true.
that. Somebody's watching me.
Even
It's
though it's like
amazing.
there's no one around, you're like, it's you,
Yeah, or
right?
you're like checking if no one is around. When you know that there's no one around, you're like, should I do that?
No, but you know what? Like, it's like also like what I told you about how like certain times of like the cosmic year, like a good time to do like manifestation, or like what does it mean to like do spells and stuff, or just say things out loud. And you know, even though there's no one there, when you say an intention, like you make it real,
Mhm.
right? Or like I guess also like in dreams as well, you have to also realize in some dreams, like if you think of the whole landscape and all the people in it, it's all you too,
Yeah.
like your perspective on them. So going back to what you were talking about before we got so abruptly cut off by the internet or whatever, uh, just about what you were saying about how like traversing through realms, and how like because I read a book once that talked about like time is just another dimension, right?
Yeah.
It's just another way by which we can kind of tell where we are, because
Yeah.
otherwise, like,
We don't know.
we don't, like, it's just like, oh, it's like you need to know in a book, are you near the beginning? Are you in the middle? Like, where are we in
Of
terms of
course.
that to
Yeah.
navigate? Yeah. And even if we take this to One Piece, I look at like Nami as like the astrologer now, because any kind of navigator is that
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing too, right? So going back to your time traveling, how would you know that you're time traveling? And was there anything that you had done? Like, do you find that
So,
there's certain kind of times of the month or whatever that you
no,
dream more, or like,
I just feel so I wrote it down, so I need to check the dates, to
yeah,
see. But I just felt like I was trying, like I was sure that I was time traveling. And because I've seen that friend of mine, and he was like, "Come hug me. I see you. Come hug me." And I was like, "You see me?" It's like, "Yeah, so means that we're connected. You and I, we're connected. Anywhere you're gonna go, we're always gonna find a way to see each other." So I was
oh,
like, okay, so I hugged him. And after he left me, so I was still traveling. And I end up in a train. And I remember that when I finished in the train, I was like, oh, I forgot my MacBook. I need to. It's like I was planning another step of my travel. But
okay,
this time I was in a train, so it was like a mobile. I don't know how we say it in English, but something that really transport you somewhere.
yeah,
So in terms of symbolics,
yeah.
it's really it means that you're going through a trip. You
Yeah,
know,
you're traversing. You're going in between,
yeah,
right?
I'm
So
going
yeah.
through something, and now it's just not me and my body feeling that I can travel. It was like really, I'm in that train because I'm getting ready for a time travel that I
Ah.
get, and I've just forgot my laptops. So I was like, oh, I need to take the train to go back and take my laptop so I can be ready for my next trip. And I
Yes.
was waiting for that, and this is how my dream ends. And I was waiting for one of my friend too. And my dream ended like that. And when I woke up, I opened my eyes. I was like, oh, I time traveled. Oh, I did it. And I was like, oh, I know. I'm sure I can do it. I was like, this is really what happened. Like, is it the it's like my body was trying to tell me that this is the feeling that I have to reach to be
Mm.
able to do it.
Yes.
The shift that I told you, like when it clicked, it was a very specific feeling in my body.
So that feeling though, was it when you were in the dream, or was it something that you did before you went into it?
No, I was in a
You're
dream
you're
and
in it, and then
I
like, but like,
felt
when did
a
that
different feeling
click happen? It happened in the dream, right?
in the dream. Yeah, it happened in the dream. And when I woke up, I was like, I did it. I know that I did it because I was remembering the feeling of the click, you know?
Yes. Yeah,
So I
that was
was now
familiar.
I just need to find in the real world how to refine that feelings that I remember in my dream. And maybe this is gonna be the way for me to time travel. That was so like this dream was so real. And I had another one. It was kind of the same feeling but different configuration.
Mm-hmm. Were you
It,
still like, because I feel like there's a theme with you in time travel when it comes to like going into things of transport, like
yeah,
going into a cab, going into like a train, going to an airport. You're going to like a
yeah.
port,
I had
right?
one I
And
was
those are
mixing it.
symbolically like
Yeah,
jump off points. So
yeah.
was this like that?
I think too. I think it's like I always have like something to, I always have an appointment
Yeah.
somewhere. I'm always getting ready to book a fly
Yeah,
or,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know, I've like, I had this other dream where I was like not really understanding that I was time traveling. And that
Mm.
was recent. And I was like really in a zone and people were weird around me. And I was like, why those people are weird? And I just realized that this is me who is weird to people.
I see. Yeah, they could
You know?
sense that you weren't from their time.
Yeah, I was like, I was like, those people are weird. And I was doing my thing, and the more I was like, wait,
They're,
what am I doing here? And the guy was like, yeah, what are you
what are
doing?
you doing
Yeah,
here?
like I was the one who was weird, and I just noticed it. So I was like, oh, what's happening? And I was like, oh, I know I need to go. So I was taking an Uber, and I was like, oh, I need to go to the airport right now.
Do you know
This is
why?
the day. This is the day I have to resign for a new. It's like I was able to redo a lifetime.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I wrote it down. I have to read it for you because
That's interesting.
this
So it's
one was.
almost like you had to make an appointment for you to like redo a certain life.
And I get back, it's like I forget my memories each time I decide to sign up for a new life path.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I only get my memories back when I realize, as much as I realize that I need to go to the airport at the same time, at the same flight. Like, it's like, I was like, wait a minute, I have a flight to take right now. Oh my God, Uber, bring me there. Like, I was like, I need to go right now. And if I go to when I go to the airport, the more I go, the more I realize I get memories back. And with those memories, I can decide if I sign up for a new life path, or if I decide to stay in that life path.
Oh.
And if I decide to stay in that life path, I can't sign for anything else. I'm staying in it.
So you have to make a decision whether you want like.
Decision.
Oh, that's
But
a
in my
really.
dream, I remember that I remember that I had to make a decision, but I also remember that I was going to the airport taking my plane. So I was signing for New Life Path and losing all my memories though, because I was, it's like I end up somewhere and
That's true.
pursuing my life until I realized that I'm weird and people are weird and everything is weird after a certain time.
So how were people just looking at you strangely, or did something feel strange in the like landscape?
Something feels strange. And then it was like I was having that there were that guy who was very flirtatious but kind of very bad guy,
Oh yeah, I
gangster.
remember this. Yeah, yeah. But
Yeah,
like he
and I
knew
was
you
like,
though, right?
this,
Like.
this one is too bad. Like, this one is not good. And somebody warned me to, like a child warned me and was like, I don't feel him. And I was like, oh, I don't feel him neither. And he was like with this other guy doing something. And I realized after a moment that I know this guy from one of my friends from a different lifetime,
Oh, okay.
life path, but this friend is still in this life path, but having a different role. And I was like, I know him from you. And it's like, yes, this is my friend Masha. And I was like, really? And we took the Uber, and I'm like, Zulu, I have to go back to the airport right now. And it was like, like doing stuff. It was such a crazy dream. But
I remember that one because that is very much like how I think it all works, right? Like when you go to sleep and you go to like that other life or the other lives that you're like living,
yeah,
you do have, I think, a lot of the same characters in this life, just in different roles. Yeah, and as you
yeah.
said, different. I like how you said different configurations. It's like I had a dream once. I told Kevin this. Where like we were like assassins or something, and we were trying to get like a map from somewhere, and
Yeah.
like those like train carts, like the like I don't know, like you like if you had like if you came here to Toronto, like you went to Stacked Market and they have like those like train kind of compartment things. Anyways, we were
Okay.
like jumping over them, like there's like spaces in between them and like
Yeah.
jumping, and then like I had like a map, and then there's people like something chasing us and like shooting at us and stuff, and so it was like moonlight on us, and like we're like in the darkness, and we like knew we had to get like it was like plans or something, some sort of blueprint that we were trying to like get out to other people. And I remember like jumping and then like not making it, and then like throwing the map to Kevin so he caught it, and then like I fell, and then like but I fell on like this spike, like this like I felt it like go through my like body and like lay there, and then like him holding the map, and I'm like, you have to go and like take the map, and then like I woke up, and then like I just like fell. I'm like, oh my gosh, like
Like, oh my God, I
Did I
thought.
did I like did I get stabbed? Like what the fuck happened? Looking at Kevin, what the fuck? Did you take the map? Did you get it to where it needed to go? What the heck was that? But it's almost like that could also be a way of like subconsciously other little side missions that you're working on, like how it plays out.
Yeah.
Like maybe it's a matter of like, oh, I need to like give Kevin some sort of like blueprint or like something that he needs to work with in by a certain time, or I will hurt myself. But sometimes like that feels so real. I like was like, oh, holy shit. Yeah. And like once too, like Kevin in bed was like yelled out like bullshit to me, and this is like a fun joke between us because he was like dreaming of doing deadlifts. And like someone was trying to stop him, so he's like bullshit and like yelled that out in real life, and I was like, what the fuck? Like who dreams about deadlifts? But for example, like if you're like getting ready for a show, if you're like learning a dance and all that stuff, like you'll visualize it in your head too.
Yeah.
So like that visualization technique, and then when you dream, I feel like if you practice that, you can also then wield more control in like what you were saying, like lucid dreaming. Like when you're like in the dream, you're like, oh, this is a dream. I'm aware this is a dream, so I'm going to like be able to play with this in a certain way. Yeah. So I've when I was younger, I was much more able to do that. I feel like as I've gotten older, I have to practice that more. I've been working on making little spell jars that are like lucid dreaming jars, like little talismans, so that like you can almost like, you know, like you were saying, like the click in the dream, because you can't, it's hard to prepare for that. You can kind of almost like, okay, that's what it feels like. And so when the opportunity happens, I should like give myself a clue to be able to do that. Whereas like, or to your point, like in real life, when a certain scenario like a deja vu happens, maybe there's an opportunity there for me to like crack some sort of code.
That's why you need to write it down.
Yes. Yeah.
That's why sometimes I'm like, I feel like I left that. I already see that scene, and I'm trying to track it and write, because if one day I'm gonna write down something I already felt that, you know.
Yes.
And you'll be like, I won't be surprised. I'm sure this can happen, but you need to write it down. You need to write it down, or you need at least like to train yourself, because this is a practice though. This is another practice. So you need to actually question yourself and ask yourself if you dreamed just before you wake up. Like when you wake up, you open your eyes, just question yourself. Have I dreamed or not?
That's a great tip. Yeah, just like that, you know, that first waking moment when you're first coming into the reality. You're like, oh,
if you dreamed or not.
Yeah, because like if you watch any kind of sci-fi movie, right, like anyone where it's like where you like lose all of your memory when you wake up, it's like if you woke up, like I was heard this podcast once where it's like you have this whole opportunity when you open your eyes to live any kind of reality that we want, but because we are so used to the one that we already had yesterday, that's the one that we always project.
Yeah, probably. Oh wow, that's interesting though.
Right? So if, to your point, like if we're able to in that like that space before you wake up to almost kind of be like, wait a minute, maybe I can like remember, and then even more than that, maybe I can like bring in some of that like dream me into this world and do some of the things I'm able to do in dream world in this world, right? Where we don't have like the limitations of like, you know, 3D space and time and all that kind of stuff, because it's really like mind game, like mental tricks as well. And I think it's like also when you're thinking about your memory, on what sensory modality you're working with. Because I've realized too that I don't necessarily visualize a lot as much as I like feel things. And I think you're like this too, where like it's like you get just like a feeling in your heart, or like a thing like in the back of your head, or like just like a like, wait a minute, like it's not what like the movies say it is. I feel like, you know, where it's like, oh, I got this vision, and like, oh no, now it's this. It's like, I don't know. It's more just like feeling. It's a feeling, yeah. And there's other things that can come with it too, like a ringing in ears, or I'll smell things sometimes. Like it's all like you think of all the senses too, and even if you think about your memory, that's why like smells, songs, different music will like just like trigger something, and you're just like, wait a minute, or like in a movie in the background there'll be a song playing or something, and like it'll be like, wait a minute, I know that, but you couldn't know that unless you had a past life where it was a thing.
Yeah, that's crazy though.
Yeah.
This is so
I know. How about that?
you know?
It is complicated, and it can hurt your brain if you think about it too much. Because like what I was saying with like the branches thing, where like, because that the paradox, because when you talk about time travel, right, when they say like, okay, if you go back in time and like you fuck with your parents and they don't get together, like this is what Back to the Future is all about, and then you won't be born, then what happens? Then you wouldn't have been able to go back in time in the first place to do that. You're like in a loop now.
My God, this is scary though.
No, it's true. But I don't think that that's possible.
Me neither.
I don't think, because time doesn't work like that. Time's not like this line. Time is like happening all the time. So if you were to go back in time to that point, as I said, you're just making a new branch with new conditions based on what's happened. And comic books have done this a lot, like X-Men and all that. Like they do a lot of like going back into the past, making new decisions, and then like going to the like whatever happens. But then you have like weird complicated things of like, oh, my daughter from the future thinks that like Sailor Moon does this, where like her daughter from the future tries to like get her hubby, like compete for affections. But I'm like, that's your dad, like. But anyways, regardless. Okay, well anyways, in terms of dreams, what I wanted to wrap this up with, we've talked about time travel, we've talked about dreams and the importance of dreams. The last thing on the bucket list before we can wrap is the idea of portals. Because we are in a portal right now, but like people have different definitions of portals. Like you can think of portal like, I'm going to do this, and now there's a portal in the hole, and you can walk through it. Like I was talking about how like we should have a portal that we can come to Guadeloupe and like,
oh, that would be so
right nice. And then like whenever we want, just like there's this TV show where like they have like witches from all over the world, and then like to get together they make a portal from their doors, and they all just like go to whoever's living room that they want. I'm like, how do we do that? Figure that out, right? Yeah, but like there's more to it than that, right? Because like if you think of like portals, I think there's more than one way to open a portal, right? Because to me, like when people are talking like astrologically, they'll say like the cosmos are in a certain alignment and there's a portal. But like, what does that mean? Like, are we all gonna walk through a black hole? Like, what's going on? But I think it's just an opportunity for you to your point about like stepping into your other selves, stepping into your other life. Like there's an opportunity that it is ripe for you to be able to have those powerful experiences, and then work with it before
I think too. I think this is kind of like that. I think this is really just a different room. It's just a different room.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. A different room. Because if you think about like, it's not just walking through things, it's about like you as a person and being able to like imagine it. So if more people imagine stuff that's like good and magical, then we don't know what's possible when it comes to that. So but the problem is that like the evil powers that be also know that to be true. So they would like to just put out more stories of stuff that keeps people divided and all that kind of crazy stuff. So what we can do to combat that is good dreams and spreading good, like all that kind of stuff. And even in our dreams, like realize that we have an impact in our own personal dreams to like dream good dreams, because the more of us that do, then the better off we are. And also, like, then you have more ambassadors in that dream world, Pastelle. Like, you can be in other people's dreams, making sure that they're okay.
Yes, working on them.
Yeah, like guardian of dreams and stuff, and all of that kind of stuff, because that's what the dragon warriors are. Like, you're guardians of portals, because when we go into those spaces too, the challenge or the danger, I think, sometimes is like creating a container for it. You know, like when you're doing spell work, or if you're doing intention work, or you're working with a sacred space, it's like important to like close the space afterwards. Like, once you open,
You
to
have to close.
close it. Yeah, and then express gratitude and like that. And I think sometimes you could even think of dreams like that too. So I really like what you were saying about like in that beginning moment when you like are first coming back into the world, to almost realize that you were in a dream, so that you could almost close it and then also bring through everything else that you need.
Yeah,
Because then I think sometimes, like, I've done this before, where like if you have like a horrible dream, like it can like impact you too,
of course.
like if you just anxiety, or if you're stressed about something, and if you bring that through, and
Yeah,
maybe it really doesn't have legs, like if you've, I don't know, like all the stuff that you like sometimes bring up in your head when it comes to like your emotions, or like you're jealous about something, or like any of that stuff, it can like become a monster in your
yeah,
dreams, right? And so I think it's like important to realize that like we can choose not to let those exist.
happen.
Yeah, yeah,
That's true though.
yeah, yeah. So with that, Pastelle, do you have any final words? I know that you have a store now up for your beautiful soap company. I will include a link in the show notes. Do you have any like holiday specials or anything upcoming that we can look for from you?
Cause I did a special offer for holidays, but it's been sold out, which
Oh,
is
oh,
like,
that's good. That's a wonderful problem to have, Pastelle. Congratulations.
yeah, like you'll find some new products like very soon. You have three new products gonna happen on the it's gonna be launched on the shop.
Mm,
You would love it, like really.
I bet.
Yeah.
I bet.
There's-
Can you
Yeah,
say what they are, or like
yeah,
one sneak
there's
peek?
actually a body scrub. The name is the body polisher. I
Nice.
like it especially because you can also, I'm a very adept to the soaking feet after day.
Mm-hmm.
It's like for me, everybody should soak their feet at least 5 minutes after a very busy day, because it could solve any problem like migraines, headaches,
Mm.
like if you want to lose weight, for example, like everything who's gonna build uh body transformation, it comes through like foot reflexologies, you know? So you need to soak your feet so your feet can actually relax and you can like decompress all your body entirely.
That's, oh my gosh. Our next episode, Pastel, we should do like, there is a connection between like your body parts and astrology, right?
Yeah,
Right? And then it's like you can also find out like where you're more likely to have potential issues based on your astro. But
yeah,
the feet thing was important, because if you think about you as like, I'm a person, from your feet to your crown chakra, you're like a connection between heaven and earth, right?
of
And
course.
so you, yeah,
Everything is like
being
comes.
blocked by gunk and stuff in your feet, then you need to like clear that shit out.
Exactly, it comes from the bottom of your feet. It's actually
Yeah,
the contact you have with Earth. Like,
yeah,
imagine you wake up at the morning, the first thing you do is putting your feet on the floor.
it's true. That's true.
Walk all the day long.
Yeah.
You actually, we were talking about uh, I don't know, vehicles. So it's like motion caps or like trains, cars,
Yeah, yeah,
shipping. When
yeah,
I say
yes.
shipping, it's like ship, and it's like your first ship is actually your both feet.
Yeah.
you want to make sure that
Oh, Pastelle, you're like a philosopher.
so
But no, it's because if you think about it, the feet are Pisces too, and like fish, and like so
yeah.
your feet. It's like the foundation of everything. And if I think we oftentimes don't realize that. Like when I was doing handstand workshops, a lot more often, where like he was like, we walk on our feet all the time, and look at how tiny your feet are, and they can carry your whole body. I'm like, yeah, but like it's so much harder with your hand to walk around. But if you think about it, though, it's just we can train our bodies, and like our bodies are so smart, and so it's about, I guess, giving a bit more gratitude to like the feet that carry us around. And
Yeah. Like, okay, you have a little bit of rest.
yes
I can feel on my hand the weight you've been dealing with all day long since I walk.
yeah.
So,
And I mean also too, if you're doing samba, I feel like that's like,
oh, this is all about that. This
yeah.
is all about that. Like Samba is just like my teacher. So Adriana from Dance Migration.
Mm.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I'm actually wearing her shirt. So she's like she trained us like that, like being conscious that if every day we wake up, we put our feet on the floor. Every day we gonna walk. It's like we dancing samba. Samba, it's like from the bottom of your feet into the earth, taking the energy who's gonna like mm, go through all your body and until you lift, because we dancing the feminine samba, and you're going on you're lifting your feet so you can higher yourself, but still has that connection with the ground. So
Yes, that's true, because you are lifted up in a heel, but you are still connected. So
you're connected. It's like
yes, yeah,
you're so connected. Your connection is so intense that it allows you to lift yourself a little bit, but you
yeah,
still that step is gonna go through
yeah,
the
yeah,
find that energy who's gonna help you to have that impulsion to do things, to dance, but to do things. So
oh,
this, uh,
I that's a great place for us to end, Pastel. Yeah, because no, because if you think about like dance, I think that dance and dreams and all of what you were saying about like the work that you're doing, like your beauty company, is all like it's all related, right? In like a beautiful kind of way.
I have something really funny is that like 2 days, 4 days ago, I had that event with that lady who was saying you need to refine your child's dream.
Yes, yes, yes,
I
yeah.
didn't remember, so I messaged my mom, and I was like, Mom, do you remember what was my dream when I was a kid?
Oh,
And it was like for what I remember, I think it was dance. It was dancing. You wanted to dance. Yeah, she told me that, and I cried. I was like, I knew that.
you already
So
knew.
I knew that.
Yeah,
And she's like,
yeah.
if you see, like really, I did like skating on ice. I
Yes,
was
I do remember that. Yeah.
And then she was like, yeah, even though you were falling on the ice and you were crying because it was painful, you always wanted to go. And everywhere you travel, you're looking for a way to dance.
Yeah.
Actually met like that. You were
Yeah.
the under like showing me the underground studio and saying
Yeah.
learn how to dance on heels
Yeah,
for my
that's
weekend and all of that. And
girl, yeah, cuz dance is a language, right? And it's just a way of like I can't tell you how like when I was a kid and dance was like a way for me to make friends.
yeah,
Because I was like how do you like I don't know, cuz I love that your mom told you that you wanted to dance when you were a kid.
yeah, she told me
Because
that.
that's because now you can fulfill dreams of your childhood, and that
Yeah.
is really what we're supposed to be doing here. Because when you're a kid, you have all of those memories so fresh from
This is
past
this is
lives, right?
just manifestation.
Yeah. So, and we forget, we get all this other shit that cuts in the way. Like, you can't do that, and you can't do this, or you have to like survive, you have to get a job, you have to do all. Yeah, but you also have to do what your heart tells you to. So, yeah. You do, because if you don't, it manifests in other ways, right? And I do think like that's really where disease comes from. That's where when you have anxiety and like pain and all, like it really comes from when you're living in such a way that you're not listening to what that inner you, that like child you is like telling you that it wants to do. Like I read my old yearbook and I cried because in it, like one of the girls, you'll meet her because she's one of the original Dragon Warriors. Her name's Rachel too. We became best friends in kindergarten because her name was Rachel. My name was Rachel. First day of kindergarten, we're like, you want to be best friends? And then we were. So 13 years later, she wrote in my yearbook this long letter and I was like rereading it. And she's like, when you become a super famous like child psychologist in New York and like, I'm like, child psychologist? What? When did I want to be that? And then I was like, oh wait, yeah, I remember now. Like I wanted to be like just have a whole school of like to teach kids in like a new kind of way, which is kind of like what I'm going to end up doing anyways, because
What you doing though?
it is, because like kids need to learn, should know astrology, should know how to dance, and not dance in like such a structured way, but to just like know how like your body's movement. Not everyone can dance ballet and not everyone can dance samba or hip hop or whatever. Yeah, you can't, you're not, everyone's trained, but everyone can move and dance to music on beat. So that is, I think, everyone's birthright as human beings, because it's what we've done forever. It's what you do when you like bang on the floor, when you like dance and stuff and like beat on your chest and move to music, because that's pure medicine. And to say that that's only because that's for dancers is, I can't stand that, right? Because it's annoying. So there's also a level of people who think that they're really great and they're not, but that's a whole other thing to talk about. But as far as just like expression and moving and all that good stuff, I'm so happy that I've seen you also, Pastelle, like from a dance perspective, like from when we did heels in the beginning to like you doing samba now. Like, holy shit, we should do like a video of like the transformation into like and like your bird, like the hummingbird, like the like that.
Yeah.
It's such a beautiful expression of all of that, and you can express so much in just like moving that like words, you know, doesn't do as much. So
That's
with that, Pastelle, I'm going to end the recording. I'll say goodbye to you on Zoom officially, but I will wrap out this live stream on Dreams, our very deep live stream on Dreams, and I will be having some more roundtables of all of us talking about more magical stuff in the new year. But until then, you can catch all of Pastelle's stuff on, I think it's all on Instagram for now, right? And then the link is it on a website or is it just like a side little store? Or do you want to like call out what that is now?
an online store.
Okay.
But you can find it. I think you can Google it, but you could also find it on Instagram. Just click on the link and you have the
Yeah,
shop.
I think I saw that it's in your link. So we'll leave all of those links, and this will also be going up officially on the website as well with all of the info. So if people want to find out where you're at and purchase some of your fun soaps in the new year, they can do that. All right. Goodbye, everybody. Have a wonderful evening.